Hello, I'm Brian. Today we'll be talking about seeds, the differences between heirloom seeds and hybrid seeds, and I'll be taking you around the garden to see what seeds that we can save. We'll be using this pie tin to help us collect some and clean them. And for gardeners who grow plants from seeds, you know how much more enjoyment growing from seed brings us. There's the looking for the seeds at the store, going through and looking at all the physical packets, holding them in your hands and reading the description. And there's finding them online as well, clicking and adding them to the cart, waiting for them to come in the mail, opening the box and seeing the seeds that we ordered. There's organizing them and sharing them, and then there's sowing them. And when sowing seeds, it's another compounded level of enjoyment. There's the wonder if they'll sprout, the anticipation for them to sprout, and then the excitement when they sprout, and then watching them, the enjoyment from watching them grow and eventually produce a flower, and if they make us fruit or vegetable, making that for us to enjoy and share. Before we go around and looking at the different plants and the seeds that we can save, let's first look at the differences between heirloom and hybrid seeds or hybrid plants, and we'll use a very simplified illustration with the use of my son's Legos. Let's first talk about heirloom seeds and how they work. Let's use this Lego piece as a representation of an heirloom seed. You plant it into the ground, it will become a plant, and the plant will make a flower, and eventually it will make a seed. You take the seed and you plant it in the ground, and then next it will become a plant, it will make a flower, and it will make a seed. And you can repeat this over and over and over again and get your seed and your plants back. And this is why heirlooms are great for seed saving. Until, of course, you get cross-pollination, and the seed would then become hybridized. So how cross-pollination works is if you have two similar plants, when you plant two similar seeds of the same species, so let's say like your peppers, you have two different peppers, or you have two different corn varieties, and you plant them nearby, they'll grow into a plant. They'll make a flower, and then when you have cross-pollination, which is either wind-driven or gravity-driven or insect-driven or human-driven, which is if you hand-pollinate them, you will get a hybrid seed. And sometimes we do this so that we can get the characteristics of an heirloom plant or two different plants to make a new plant with better characteristics. So for new gardeners, when you go to the garden center, you'll likely find seeds that are hybrid seeds, and these are going to be a little bit better in the sense that they'll grow more easily because they've been selected for either weather or pest resistance, or they'll make bigger fruit for you. Sometimes the trade-off is that you may not get the same taste as the heirloom seeds, and a definite trade-off is that you won't be able to seed save these things, these hybrid seeds, because you're not going to get your original plants back, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. So with heirloom plants, the advantage is that you can seed save and you'll get your plants back. You can also get to taste some of the plants that people before us tasted it, and also you can expand your gardening budget because you get to seed save. So now with this hybrid seed, when you go and plant it, it becomes a plant. It makes a flower, but the seed that you get back, sometimes it reverts to one of the original plants. Let's see. I think it reverts back to I'm not entirely sure on the specifics which plant it reverts back to, but sometimes it reverts back to either this one or this one, or sometimes in rare cases, it will stay hybridized, and when you plant it next season, you'll get a plant, and you'll get a flower, and then you'll get this hybrid plant right back. So when this happens, it's called a stable hybrid. And one example is the dark star zucchini, which is a hybrid between a black beauty. I can't remember the other zucchini, and it's known to be stable. So this is called a stable hybrid. But generally, you're not going to see this. So if you buy hybrid seeds, it's best, unless you know the variety is stable, not to seed save, because you're not going to get back your original hybrid plant. Once again, this is a really simplified explanation. If you like to learn more about the different types of seeds, hybrids, and the heirloom, please search for it on Google. There's a lot of good information out there. Just real quick, there's also generational names. So if you hybridize a plant, so if you get your initial hybrid and you plant this is called an F1 plant, and you'll get F2, F3. So if you see that when you're looking at seeds, especially if you're looking at Johnny Seeds, I believe they list what generation the seeds are. So if you ever seen what F1 and so on, so that's what it means. This is a Thai holy basil, or Rama tulsi, and it's pretty much something that a lot of us, basil is something that a lot of us probably collect and seed save, do a lot of seed saving. So what I like to do is I like to take the husk off onto this pie tin and massage the seeds out of the husk, and like panning for gold, I just shake them into a little onto the edge and give it a gentle blow. The husk will blow away, and then you're left with the seeds. Here we have a lot of dragon's tongue arugula seeds, and they're really small. And what I like to do is get underneath here and just kind of massage the seeds out onto the pie tin, and get quite a bit of seeds from all of these pods here. It produces a lot of seeds. So same deal. Shake it up onto the edge and blow the husk off, and you're left with a lot of these dragon's tongue seed. Here we have a yard-long bean, also known as an asparagus bean, or noodle bean. This is a red noodle bean, and it's plumped up. Seeds are in here. It's not ready to be saved, but I usually let it dry off before I go in and get it. A little bit over this way, we have some haricot vert beans in here. And these are the dried pods that are in here. Sometimes I just leave them in the pods like this, or if you want to get them out and put them in a container or a bag, they're easy to get out. Pumpkins and squashes are pretty self-explanatory. They have large seeds that you cut open, and you just scoop them out and air dry them. With peppers, they're like squashes. You wait for them to dry and get the seeds, or even when they've ripened. So this poblano pepper. Jalapeno peppers are red and ready to go. Here are some examples of some drier peppers. These are Manjani Togarashi peppers. With your legumes like your chives, your garlic chive, your shallots, onions, garlic, and even leeks like this King Richard leek, seeds are all in the scape, and you just go and massage them out. Okra, you can cut them off the plant, and I like to sometimes leave it in the pod because they make really good sewing devices. They just kind of, well, this is still a little bit moist, but once it's dry you can use it to sow your seeds. It'll just slide out and just, you know, run along these things, and you can sow them easily that way. Corn, this is golden bantam corn, and saving your own corn is the best thing ever because look out for this guy. We'll talk about him in a second. Saving your corn is the best thing ever because you're gonna be able to plant the best part of the corn back, which is this middle part here. These are the best seeds to plant with. When you buy corn seeds, you're gonna get a mishmash of all the corn here. So the other thing when saving your seed is to make sure you keep it away from this weevil that's found. Weevil, which is the larva of these flies here, and they like to go and eat the center out of your corn, which is the tastiest part to them, I guess, where the embryo is. And you'll be really disappointed come next season when you find holes in your corn. So make sure that when you put away your corn that there's not some weevil like what it's trying to do. Eggplants, these are Thai Calpria eggplants. They're like your peppers and such, so just let them dry out, and then you have your seeds in here. Lots and lots and lots of seeds. With seeds that have membrane around them, like tomatoes and cucumber, thanks to viewers like you and for sharing knowledge, I'm using a fermentation process to clean the membrane off the seed. It's really simple, and I'm going to use this from now on. Basically what you do is you scoop or squeeze the seeds with the juice and all into a container, and you let it sit over a course of 3 days, and what will happen is the liquid in here will ferment and it'll break down the membrane. So after 3 days you basically strain your seeds out and you wash the liquid off, and it'll wash the membrane along with it, and you'll get nice clean seeds, sans any membrane. And of course you want a strainer that doesn't allow the seeds to go right through. Yeah, so as far as getting the seeds in the cup, slice it in half. And you just scoop it in. Get all the juice with it. And let this sit in your kitchen window for 3 or 4 days. And then after that, rinse all the membranes off. And lastly, artichoke. This is the first time I've let a large artichoke go to seed, and the large ones are going to produce the seeds, the big seeds that are plantable. Probably not worth it to save artichokes because they are quite um, there's quite a bit of work to do in terms of getting them out, and they got all this thistle here that can irritate your skin, so even cleaning up these gloves is not going to be fun. But I wanted to do this just to have the experience. And the other thing is, if you would like to eat artichokes, these are a couple of artichokes that you had to sacrifice so as to let them go to seed. Here's our messy artichoke seed saving exercise. I have another one, and I'm not even going to bother with it. It's just a lot of work, and I have plenty of seeds from here anyways, and I have the plants that I need as far as having my crop of artichokes. These ones I'm going to be growing for my family and friends because they actually enjoy the flowers. The flowers are quite pretty, and it's always a battle to let them not go to flower, but I do get to see flowers when I let the smaller artichokes go to flower, because those ones are just too small to eat. But letting the big ones go to flower, it's more, the flowers are larger and more dramatic. Hard to see against the bucket here with the same pattern as the seeds, but here they are. Here are Green Globe Heirloom artichoke seeds. So really worth it to purchase the seeds, as you can see, and from our experience today. Well worth the price for a packet of artichoke seeds. There are many ways to go about storing the seeds. These little pouches are a very common way that people store and share their seeds. And for about $7 shipped, you get 500 of them, which is a really good value. This is another way that I discovered when I saved the baby food containers when my son was done with them. So if you have kids, or you know someone with kids, ask to have their containers. So I had a whole bunch of these with lids, and I discovered that you can stack them and use the container on top as a lid. So what I did was I wrote in the names of the seeds on the side, and you can save your seeds this way. So, and they stack as tall as you're comfortable with them. So with the artichoke, I was really gentle with it, and I've learned to be gentle with seeds and seed pods that I'm not familiar with. I learned that from the cranberry hibiscus when I went to grab it, like I normally do with seed pods. I learned that there are spikes on them, and also the spinach seeds have spikes on them as well, so I learned from them. The seeds that we get are probably polished off because they're nice and round and smooth, but if you've ever seen a spinach seed, you'll see that it's like a triangle shape with these really sharp barbs on them. And with the artichoke, it's probably one that is not really worth it to save the seeds for. I have another one there that I probably won't get the seeds out of, but knowing me, I'll probably come back later and get the seeds from it, even though it can get a little bit messy and might get underneath my skin and irritate me. I just like to save seeds. It's fun. Well, I guess until the next episode, thanks for watching.